feeling the same thing, any Jehovah's Witnesses watching this, it made me feel very sick. There's an expression that is being used with regards to what one may feel when they hold true to particular viewpoints that oppose each other. And I believe the word they use for it is cognitive dissonance. I had that very bad. I've literally felt very sick to my stomach, like as if someone pulled a carpet from underneath me and I just slammed to the floor. I remember that. It's sick. What do you do when you realize what you've been taught all your life is false? It's a lie. This is not God's organization. But at the same time, you still view that other religions are false. And you become very confused. And I felt that very much so. When I realized this, though, this was in 1997, I wanted my family to know and hear it from me first that I was going to leave the Watchtower organization. I didn't want them to hear it from some others in the congregation. I felt that I owed that to them. So I arranged for a meeting with my family where I told them I'm leaving the organization. And that was in 97. They were all very quiet. They listened to me. When I was through talking, in fact, my mother, she looked at my father and said, "Why don't you say something to him?" And my father says, "Say what? Everything he says makes sense." And he couldn't tell me nothing. My family couldn't tell me nothing. Of course, they all disagreed with me. They thought I was wrong. But I left, and I realized that my family. This might be the last time my family speaks to me. I knew that ahead of time, and my first love is to Christ. Jesus said in Matthew, "He that has greater affection for father or mother than for me is not worthy of me." So I had to make a choice, and I chose Christ. Attempts were made from the congregation that I went to, Huntington Congregation in Fresno, California, and two elders first met with me, and they were basically there not even to debate me. They just wanted to know, do you think this is God's organization or not? That's basically what they got. What was interesting, though, is that my mother was so upset that I was leaving. She wanted to be at the elders meeting when I went to the elders, and I had no problem with that. So I said, "Mom, you're welcome." So when the elders came to my house to visit me, they see my mother there, and my mother's a witness, but in a different congregation. I explained to them, "Well, my mother wants to sit in. She's concerned about me leaving." So they couldn't say anything. It's my house. So they allowed her to stay there. And anyway, while they were there, we talked about all kinds of things, about the blood issue, about the 607, and their New World Translation. And when all was said and done, they couldn't answer my questions. And my mother seen that. And when they left, my mother was just so upset that they could not answer my questions. And she saw that I wasn't rude to them, I didn't insult them, and I treated them with respect. And yet they could not answer my questions. So anyway, they left, and then a neighbor of mine who's a very good friend of mine, he was an elder, and he wanted to meet with me and bring along another elder to discuss. And so they came along and met with me, and it was pretty much the same thing, and they couldn't answer my questions. In fact, he asked me, one of the elders asked me, who's now a circuit overseer, his name's Ed Govea. I believe there's even a YouTube video on him. Which I have very much respect for him, and he said, "Why don't I stay in the organization and keep my doubts to myself. And I said, well, I would love to do that. I have invested my time and my life in this organization. All my friends are here. And I said, my conscience, though, would not allow me. How can I go knock on people's doors, essentially try to start a Bible study with them, or not, a book study, not a Bible study, but a book study with them, with the intention of bringing them into the organization when I have doubts myself? I couldn't do that. So I told them, I can't go out in service anymore when I have these doubts. So there's just no way. That goes against my conscience. I cannot mislead people, and I will not mislead people. And as a result, I'm not going to go out in service. So my publisher's card is going to say 0 hours. And after 6 months of 0 hours, you're considered inactive. And the next time the circuit overseer visits the congregation, what's one of the first things the circuit overseer does when he visits the congregation? He asks for the publisher's cards. He wants to go through those publisher's cards, pull out all the inactive ones, arrange with the elders of that congregation to do shepherding calls on these inactive ones. Now, what's going to happen when they pull my card out and it says I'm active in 0, and he's going to want to meet with me, and I tell him my reasons? He's probably going to look at the other and say, why haven't you questioned this brother before? And if he doesn't believe this is God's organization, he should be expelled from the congregation. So anyway, I couldn't stay in the organization. So I wrote my letter of disassociation in August of '97 is when I